You're probably wondering why I'm wearing this. This is what I wore to labor. This gown, robe, slip. Well, besides this, I'm just cold. That's why I put that on. But this is what I wore the day I went into labor and the day I gave birth to my son. And how many of you guys are thinking of having children in the future or have kids? Yeah, probably the majority of you guys, besides the one or two over here. But I'm going to talk about my experience through labor and then the three main points, like the three stages of labor. So the first stage is early labor. And that's like when your cervix is dilated to 0 or 3. And your contractions are about, I think it's 5 to 20 minutes, and they're about 30 seconds long. And a lot of people confuse this for Braxton Hicks, which is like fake contractions. They prepare your body like to go into labor, and they help open your cervix. And so that's what I thought they were, April 5th, 2009, which was like 6 months ago. I thought I was having Braxton Hicks, so I tried to like stay at home and stuff. I got in the bath and everything, and then finally later that afternoon, oh my gosh, they started getting so intense that I went to the hospital. And then I went into the active labor, which is when your cervix is dilated to 4 to 8 centimeters. And they happen like every 3 to 5 minutes, and they're about a minute long, and they're a lot more intense. Like I try to have it naturally, which a lot of people probably say they're going to do, but you won't. So I guarantee you, like unless, yeah. Anyways, so I try to have it naturally for like 6 hours. And then finally, I asked for the epidural, which is like this. What they do is they put this needle, like it's so big, this right here, it's almost as long as a pencil, and it's like extremely thick. They numb your back like in a cross type of thing, and then they stick it right here in between your spine, and it's like a lot of blood, but it was probably the best thing I ever did. Like, oh my gosh, it was so, wow. Like, I think I took a nap, actually.
What?
Yeah, for 2 whole hours, and then over on. And then I remember, like, I was like, oh my gosh, get the anesthesiologist back up here, because I need another dose. So she came back up, she gave me another dose, and it did not work. Like, it lasted for about 10 minutes, and then they gave me relaxers. Like, they have an IV that I think just about everyone will get. They gave me relaxers, and those didn't work, and so they took the epidural out, they re-put it in, and yeah. They re-put it in, and it was terrible. It still didn't work, so I think I gave up at that point. And so, then I went into my third stage. Well, it's still the first stage, but it's the third stage of the first stage, if that makes sense, which is transition. And that's when you're dilated to about an 8 to 10 centimeters. It's about every 3 to 5 minutes and about a minute or 2 long. And I got to 9.5, like, and the nurse kept telling me, okay, you'll be within an hour to start pushing. I was at 9.5 for about 4.5 hours, and so that sucked me so bad. I was like in so much pain. And Jennifer, my Lamaze coach, she told me that the best technique that she ever used in her own delivery and people that she's told is the breathing. Okay, I use that a ton. Like sometimes I forgot to breathe, but then my fiance would remind me to do that. And then I got into my second stage of labor. Finally got to the point where I was able to push. And so I started, like, the nurse held one leg, like you're laying down on the bed. The nurse held one leg, and then Andrew held my other leg. And my worst fear was that I was gonna poop. Because like it's normal, like it's like you poop or you pee. Sometimes, I did it though, I did it. I did it. I just remember asking him, Andrew, am I pooping? I wasn't though. I don't know how many times I asked him, but I asked him. And that's the second stage, that's the transition part of labor. And then you go into your second stage of labor, which is the descending and crowning part, which is basically you're pushing until your baby comes out. And so I got to the, you push for about 10 seconds, and hold on, you know what? I have a quote here that kind of explains to guys like what labor feels like. Okay, Carol Burnett once said, giving birth is like taking your lower lip and forcing it over your head.
Oh, yeah.
So just so you have a little idea of what it feels like. But, so the doctor finally came in and he was like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to have a vaginal delivery. And I was like, I was so mad. So my breathing turned into this like, ah! Like I was crying and screaming, like I was so disappointed. But normally, if you could have a regular vaginal delivery, you'll go through the third stage, which is the birth of the placenta. And that's when the placenta detaches from your body and it comes out. It has the umbilical cord attached to it and everything. And it's like pretty big. It's pretty big. But that's if you have like a regular delivery. I still had the third stage, just mine was a C-section. And so the C-section looks more like, that's the incision right there. And that's not me, by the way. But that's the incision, and then that's like the cut of the baby coming out. And so that is the end of it. And then I'm going to end with this quote by Cheryl Feldman. There is power that comes to women when they give birth. They don't ask for it, it simply invades them. It accumulates like clouds on the horizon and passes through, carrying the child with it. And then my son, actually, I'm going to end with my son. He's like with his grandma. And this is the product of that joyful day. Hey, handsome.
Oh, baby.
This is my little man. And I have like a poster where just in case he couldn't come, it's like, well, I want pictures of him. That's how like big my stomach got. And those are like the little pictures of him. This is him. Say hello.